Welcome to Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into some important USCIS updates, specifically these new fee structures. We want to break down what's changed for things like work permits and asylum, make it clear what it means for you.
Absolutely. And these aren't just, small tweaks. It's a pretty big shift in policy.
Yeah.
New fees, higher fees. It's crucial information for anyone dealing with the U.S. immigration system right now.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The government's rolled out revised fees for key immigration forms. We're focusing mainly on Form I-765, that's the employment authorization or work permit application, and Form I-589, the asylum application. And like you said, it's not just adjustments, it's new costs popping up.
Exactly. And it's important to understand the why behind it, or at least the stated why. These changes are tied to the H.R.1 reconciliation bill. Basically, the idea is to get the fees more in line with inflation and cover the actual costs of the services USCIS provides.
Right, cost recovery. So while people feel it in their wallets, the reasoning stems from bigger budget stuff.
That's the official rationale, yes.
Yeah.
Budgetary considerations driving these fee changes.
Okay, first up then. Form I-765, the EAD, the work permit. What are the numbers people need to know now for general filing if you do it online?
That's now $470.
And paper filing.
That one's a bit higher, $520. A little incentive to go digital, perhaps.
But you mentioned specific groups are seeing bigger changes.
Yes, and this is really key. There are new fees specifically targeting asylum seekers, parolees, and people with temporary protected status, TPS. Those federal categories like A4, C8, C19, these humanitarian-linked statuses.
Okay, so what are those specific fees?
For those groups, an initial EAD application, that's $550 now.
$550 for the first one. And renewals?
Renewals or extensions are $275. Still a cost, but lower than the initial.
Got it.
But there's a nuance here, a sort of exception. If someone gets a new parole period using Form I-131, think parole renewals or travel docs, then the EAD fee, even for a new one tied to that, drops to $275.
Okay, interesting wrinkle there.
And another really big change for parolees and TPS holders, EAD validity. It's now capped at just 1 year, or however long their status lasts, if that's shorter.
1 year, that seems frequent. Previously, they could be longer.
Oh, definitely. This means more applications, more fees, more often. It adds a layer of instability and recurring cost.
Yeah, constantly having to think about reapplying and paying again. Less security.
Precisely. More administrative burden, more financial strain year after year.
Okay, so that's the EAD. Let's shift gears to Form I-589. Asylum applications, what's new there? Because historically, there wasn't a fee just to apply for asylum itself, was there?
Correct. That's a major change. Now, there's a $100 fee just to submit a new I-589 application.
$100 up front just to ask for protection.
Yes. And perhaps even more significantly, they've introduced something called the Annual Asylum Fee, or AAF.
Annual fee, what does that mean?
It means you pay $100 every single year that your asylum application is pending, per calendar year.
Wow. So it's not a one-time thing if your case takes 3, 4, 5 years.
You're paying that $100 each year. It's pending past the first-year anniversary.
Okay, that's a huge financial commitment over time for people likely in very difficult situations.
It really is. It fundamentally changes the cost dynamic of seeking asylum.
And when does this AAF apply? Who needs to worry about this now?
This applies to applications filed on or after October 1st, 2024. So anyone who filed since then needs to be aware. USCIS will send out notices when the fee is due each year after that first anniversary.
So for those who filed last October, November, that first annual payment could be coming up soon.
Exactly. That first wave of AAF payments is likely starting.
Okay. And you mentioned these changes are part of a broader bill, H.R.1. Are other forms affected too?
Yes, definitely. It wasn't just I-765 and I-589. For instance, Form I-360 for special immigrant juvenile petitions. That now has a new $250 filing fee.
$250 for SIJ cases, okay.
And Form I-821 for TPS registration. That fee jumped dramatically. Went from $50 up to $500.
Wow, $50 to $500 for TPS? That's a massive increase.
Substantial. A tenfold increase. It really highlights the scale of these adjustments across different humanitarian categories.
So these aren't small changes anywhere. Let's talk timing. When did all this officially start? People need the dates.
Right. The effective date for these new fees was July 22nd, 2025. So any application postmarked on or after that date needed to have the new correct fee included.
Okay, July 22nd. But there was another, even more critical deadline shortly after that, wasn't there?
Yes, and this is absolutely crucial. August 21st, 2025. Any forms submitted on or after that date August 21st without the correct fee, it gets rejected outright.
Not just delayed, not just a request for more money, but flat out rejected.
Correct. Rejected, meaning you have to refile completely, potentially losing your original filing date, paying again. It's harsh.
That's a very unforgiving deadline. Accuracy is paramount.
Absolutely. No room for error on the fees now.
Which brings up fee waivers. Can people still get waivers if they can't afford these?
Good question. And the answer is complicated. You can still apply for a fee waiver, usually using Form I-912, but only for the original underlying USCIS application fees.
Okay, so the old fees might be waivable.
Right. But, and this is the key part, these new fees added by H.R.1, they are explicitly not eligible for waivers.
So things like the $100 asylum filing fee, the annual asylum fee, the increased portion of the TPS fee.
Correct. Those specific H.R.1 additions. No waivers. You have to pay them, regardless of your financial situation.
That's a really important distinction. So even if you qualify for a waiver on the base fee, these new charges stick.
Exactly. It creates a situation where even waiver-eligible individuals now face unavoidable costs.
So what's the bottom line here? What do applicants, especially asylum seekers, TPS holders, parolees, what do they need to do now?
Well, the biggest thing is preparation, financial preparation. You need to anticipate significantly higher costs up front. Some application packages could easily top $600 now, maybe more depending on renewals.
Right. Budgeting becomes even more critical, and tracking dates seems vital too.
Absolutely, especially that annual asylum fee. You need to mark your calendar for when that might be due each year if your case is pending.
Missing it could cause problems, presumably.
For sure. And, above all else, timely submission with the correct fees. Double check, triple check those amounts before sending anything in, especially after that August 21st rejection deadline.
Meticulous attention to detail.
Never been more important.
And finally, just to reiterate, check if you're eligible for a waiver on the original fees. But remember, those newly imposed H.R.1 fees, they aren't waivable. You'll need to find a way to cover those regardless.
That's the stark reality of it now.
Okay, so just to quickly recap then, we've seen major new fees hit Form I-765 for work permits and Form I-589 for asylum, including that new annual asylum fee. Other forms like I-360 and I-821 also saw big jumps. The effective dates are already passed, and that August 21st deadline for correct fees means rejections are happening for mistakes. Preparing for higher costs, tracking dates, and understanding what is and isn't waivable is just essential now.
Indeed. The whole fee landscape for immigration has shifted fundamentally. It's not just about knowing the amounts, but the timing, the rules, and the really serious consequences like rejection if you don't get it right. Diligence is key.
All the best, and we will meet again with another important matter again.